Hello, my dear friends and family. Operator Starsky joins the chat. As always, it's so good to see you, my friends. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, and happy Hanukkah. Let's have some coffee. Let's check out some news. Frankly speaking, I was so devastated this morning, devastated physically. I could barely walk because you guys, you probably have, like this post-holiday celebration, maybe having rest, so spending time with your family. And that's basically what I did yesterday, because yesterday I went to the birthday of one of my kids, tiny Starsky operator, and we spent the whole freaking day playing Mafia. I retreated from that place after midnight. That was crazy. And I woke up in the afternoon, and I checked out several updates, several files there. It was crazy, but we will talk about that. So first of all, I would like to say that I made a small improvement, because turns out that all this time I was streaming with the subtitles, with the mistake in the word, in the coffee word, right? I have like coffee with just one E, and one legend in the commentaries noticed that, and so I changed the title. Okay, so I have an improved title now, and fuck. Anyways. Let's talk about the recent updates from Ukraine and around, and have a tiny relaxed chat, nothing official, nothing special, just a post-holiday chatter, all right? Ellie, so good to see you, by the way. I'm glad that we can spend these weekends together, my friends. Holy shit, something is flying here. I gotta do something about this. One of the first and cringiest news that we will review is that it turns out that Belarusians, according to Belarusians, they are Russian puppeteers, delivered a bunch of Oreshnik missile systems, all right? So they say that there's like 10 missile systems or something like that on the Belarusian territory. Oreshnik, you probably remember that very missile of mass disinformation that Russians launched one time at Ukraine and damaged a bunch of country houses. And that was something that terrified Joe Rogan until he started fucking vomiting, all right, and pooping there. And oh my God, what if it was nuclear? Fuck Ukrainians, give up finally. We are so much afraid of Russian supreme technologies. And according to Lukashenko and other Belarusian facts, the Russians delivered approximately 10 Oreshniks to Belarus. And again, according to Mustachio Potato Man, he says that they already deployed those missiles in secret places and stuff like that. So on your screen you can see one of such secret places that was basically discovered by several American volunteers, all centers. And basically this base where they deploy their missiles, it's located like 90% probability that it's located near Krychev, not far from the border with the Russian terrorists. American researchers believe that this base that is shown on this picture can only fit like three missile systems of Oreshnik type, not 10. But again, whatever, Russians and Belarusians, by the way, say usually you gotta either divide or multiply it, all right, by like 3 or 10, depending on what they're talking about. What else do we have? Trump talked to Politico and said that any peace initiatives coming from Kiev will not mean absolutely anything until he personally approves them. He says Zelensky doesn't have anything, Zelensky doesn't have cards until I approve this. So we will see what he has. And also Trump said, that is again, guys, if you watched my recent video published on my channel, I'm trying to explain why he behaves like this, why he's so arrogant. And the reason he does that is because the Russians and Russian puppets always say that Ukraine is and was America's puppet, and Trump is freaking convinced that it's true, and he's Ukrainian current puppeteer. Well, surprise, surprise. So he also said that he believes that everything will be fine with Zelensky, everything will be fine with Putin. Which is the only thing that I agree with American president, because in the end everything will be absolutely fine. I'm sure that Putin will meet his demise either outside or inside of the jail in The Hague, and everything will be absolutely freaking fine. So as a response to that, President Zelensky said that he is absolutely ready to offer this Trump's peace deal. Trump's peace deal, fuck. To the referendum. So he said that because the peace deal of President Trump contains different painful territorial issues, all right? So Ukrainian president says that the only way to solve those issues is to receive approval or disapproval of Ukrainian people, because all Ukrainian people own Ukrainian territory. Ukrainian territory belongs to all of Ukrainian people, right? And that is why all Ukrainian people have to vote on the referendum whether they want to give up those territories or not. I believe that you probably already understand what will be the result of this referendum for obvious reasons. And at the same time, well, okay, we'll talk about that a bit later, but he said that this referendum is possible and it will be extremely complicated. There will be extremely complicated debates and things like that. And he also suggested that Trump and his representatives can actually visit Ukraine to personally explain the benefits of giving up Ukrainian homes to Ukrainian people. I think that that will be absolutely possible, and I am looking forward to see that. Actually, Trump or J.D. Vance coming to Ukraine. J.D. Vance would have this amazing opportunity to visit the, that propaganda tour to Bucha. I would actually be a tour guide for him myself personally. All right. He wouldn't like it though. And he said that, yeah, we can do this referenda, but if this referenda and preparation for this referenda will take place in Ukraine during Russian attacks, that will be a catastrophe. And the only condition for this referendum to be held in Ukraine is 60-day unconditional ceasefire with Russia, which of course will never happen. All right. We can see that Russians are so much afraid to have ceasefires that they keep pushing and saying that no, they don't want just a ceasefire. They want a big peace deal with Ukrainians. They rely on Trump very, very much, all right, because only Trump can save Putin. So what else? While those negotiations were taking place, Putin yesterday meeting his different businessmen, oligarchs, gangsters, mafiosos, all sorts of Russian thieves. He said that he will never give up his main condition, which is complete control over the Donbass in Ukraine. He said that he demands Ukraine to give up the whole territory of Donbass, meaning Donetsk and Luhansk regions, and he said that he will not agree to anything else. Like, this must be done. Why it's so important personally to me, again, is because that might be his like minimum goal, all right? Because Putin needs to present something to his population of slaves, and he needs at least some kind of gains. He needs something to show them, to show that he's a big Russian dictator and big Tsar and conqueror and things like that. And that is why he needs at least Donbass. Because Pokrovsk is located literally 60 kilometers from Donetsk, and he's fighting for that area since like 2014. Just so you could understand, all right? As one of the Russian trolls in the commentaries said, Russians are very, very patient people. They really are. They really are. Putin is so patient, so he waited to invade Ukraine since 2001, at least, maybe even earlier. But besides that, we also have commentaries coming from General Budanov, who returned from Zaporizhia recently, and he said that approximately 409,000 Russian terrorists, that is the mobilization plan of the Russian Terrorist Federation for year 2026. They expect to mobilize or recruit 409,000 pieces of cannon fodder to be literally burned in the mid-assaults. That is what they're planning, and that is what they're working to achieve these days. Also, there was a tiny leak presented by Ukrainian hackers who actually hacked the company that is responsible for maintaining, developing, and creating all that internet platform in the Terrorist Federation. That is responsible for recruitment, all the databases and everything else. And they say that, first of all, Russia, even though before Russia was kind of mobilizing Russian terrorists and everything else, we need to recruit, yeah, absolutely average. We need to recruit 400,000 invaders for peace. Exactly. And that is considering that they also require Ukraine to shrink our army to like 50,000 men. BT, don't troll your eyes at my cup choice. I start every day with the cheers to my boys on the line. It's serious. Cheers to you, my dear friend. How can anybody see that as any basis for negotiations? Absolutely, because if Russians ask to negotiate, all right, and at the same time they plan to recruit 400,000 more Russian terrorists to throw them in the meat assaults, that's kind of suspicious, all right? But one interesting fact that I also wanted to attract your attention to, my dear friends, is that, remember, 2 days ago we talked about those declassified conversations between President George Bush and Russian dictator Vova Huilo, also known as Putin. I almost said Trump. So we talked about that, and we also talked that already back in 2001 and 2003, Putin literally thought about invading Ukraine already back then. All right, so we have declassified conversations between Putin and George Bush in 2001, in 2001, in 2005, as far as I remember, 2008. So Ukraine only signed documents for partnership with NATO, all right? Ukraine only joined partnership with NATO. We're speaking about different trainings, different mutual military exercise. We are talking about partnership on the level of headquarters, Ukrainian officers in the NATO headquarters, and NATO officers in Ukraine, military attaché, and things like that. Ukraine only signed this partnership in 2008. Which means that 7 years before Ukraine signed any sort of partnership with NATO, Dr. Freud, I'm sorry. 7 years before Ukraine signed any partnership with NATO, Putin already back then was talking to different international leaders, explaining to them that he doesn't consider that Ukraine has right to exist, that he considers Ukraine an artificial country, nation that doesn't exist, never existed, and always belonged to the Russian Empire, which is technically bullshit because Kievan Rus emerged again hundreds of years before Moscow was even a village, right? So that is something very, very interesting, and that is something very important to remember when next time some kind of degenerate will be telling you about NATO expansion. Ukraine wasn't supposed to join NATO. Putin himself admitted that he doesn't consider Ukraine as a country, as a nation that has right to exist 7 fucking years before Ukraine signed any partnership with NATO. That's just something to remember because it's very, very important. So what else do we have? Today we had some absolutely horrifying drone attack on Kyiv. You can see on your screens that quite a bunch of our houses were damaged again, unfortunately, in the downtown and also on the left bank. This one, by the way, here, that is like 5-6 kilometers from my home in Kyiv, and that is where the British ambassador lives, by the way. 2 years ago, there was a strike on this very apartment complex, and luckily she was in the bomb shelter. I really, really hope that this time she was also in the bomb shelter because terror Russian drones hit that very complex one more time. And you can see on your screens what it looked like today. Again, according to Ukrainian General Budanov, there are more and more people surrounding the Russian dictator Vova Khuilo, also known as Putin, internationally wanted war criminal. More and more people surrounding him that say that the war should be finished as soon as possible. He says that there are more and more of such voices in the environment, in Putin's environment, in the community of people surrounding Putin, because the war becomes very, very expensive for Moscow. He says, you don't even understand how much it costs to continue this war. Even a single day of this war is too expensive even for Russia, that actually doesn't care much and spends as much as possible. So it becomes very, very expensive for Russia. And again, that is something that we talked already last year when I said that 2026 we might expect a shift in Russia in terms of finances, because 2026 Russia will be spending more than half of its budget. More than half of all Russian budget will be spent on the war against Ukraine and on preparation for the war against other countries as well. How many war crimes does Trump have to commit to get another fake press? Oh my God, I have no idea. We will talk about it, if you like, literally, because tonight we're talking about everything. So glad when I'm back home and can join the chat like I used to. Yay! Yay! I'm happy too. Absolutely. L, thank you so much for becoming a member. That's not sustainable. I believe that it's not, because more than half Russian budget spent on war, that is absolutely crazy. Russia had never had such expenses that are, by the way, literally just burnt, all right, into nothing, into nothingness. My soul has many rooms, and one is reserved for a depth of emotion that may startle y'all. I feel you, my friend. Does Putin care about costs? He care about the lost, the lost stature. He doesn't care much about costs because Putin doesn't spend anything, right? Putin is very rich. He's the richest person on the planet, probably, according to different experts. He really is, all right? And he doesn't spend anything. He has a lot of money. He has a lot of palaces. And basically, whatever dictator might like to have, all right? So he doesn't care about that. Because if Russia becomes poorer, it means that people will be more miserable. Does Putin actually care about his people if he literally throws them into meat assaults every single day? I don't believe that Putin cares much. All right. If Putin cared about his people, he would quit. All right. He would travel far away, preferably to another side. So I don't think that it's about NATO, really. It's about Russia destroying Ukraine. Absolutely. Because according to Putin, again, if we check out those declassified conversations, Putin is saying that Ukraine always belonged to Russia. Ukraine was part of Russian Empire. It was part of USSR. And by the way, check out the recent video made by Combat Veteran Reacts. Dan actually debunks all that shit, because Ukraine, even when it was part of the Soviet Union, when it was occupied by the Russian Bolsheviks, it was never part of Russia. Ukraine is a different culture and different nation, different people. Right, it was never part of Russia. It was occupied by Russian communists, but even back in the USSR, Ukraine was also called USSR, Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. All right, because USSR is not communist Russia. Technically, it is, but de jure, it's Union of Soviet Republics. There is Soviet Republic of Ukraine, Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan, and yada yada. And Ukraine was never part of Russia. Ukraine was occupied by Russia several times. But Russia itself physically emerged many hundred years after Ukraine, after Kiev Rus. Ukraine is mentioned much earlier than Moscow is mentioned historically. You can Google that, because Ukraine was mentioned for the first time in approximately 10th century, while Moscow emerged when? Around like 10, 11, something like that. And back then, when it emerged, it wasn't called Moscow, it was called Kuchkovo, village of Kuchkovo. So Putin likes to operate historical fakes because he likes people to live in the parallel reality, and unfortunately he managed to do that, because quite a few people already do, unfortunately. All right. It's a paradox. Putin doesn't care about Russians, but at the same time, he's aware and concerned of the demographic decline. Yes, he's concerned, but again, compared to, for example, other countries, Russia has huge population. That is why even though they have demographic decline, but there is still a lot of potential for them to change the demographic situation. And also they expect people from Africa, from European countries, from American countries, I'm talking Southern American and Northern American continents. He expects those people to come. They already built villages for people coming to work and live in the terrorist federation. So they are working on it, but it's not their priority right now. Really, it's not. They have different other priorities, and their own infrastructure and even critical infrastructure is not even their priority at this point. Their priority is killing Ukrainians as much as possible. Their schools are falling apart. Their hospitals don't have running water. I don't know, a third of their population doesn't have sewers and firewood, but it's not priority. Priority is to keep building missiles and drones to kill more Ukrainians and expand military bases, preparing them for future invasion of Europe, which unfortunately I think so, right? Like, let's not be hysterical about it today yet, all right? But I think it will happen. Do Ukrainians feel let down by European allies? It's kind of dual, because on one hand, of course, Ukrainians have seen a lot of amazing people, a lot of volunteers, guys. There's tens of thousands of international volunteers coming to Ukraine or sending things to Ukraine. So we see that people on the level of society, they support Ukraine, and we are absolutely grateful and we admire everyone who supports Ukraine. But on the level of governments, it's not really the case. And it's important to understand that, yes, other governments don't say that, guys, tomorrow we will send a brigade of our commanders and deploy them in Ukraine and we will fight shoulder to shoulder. Because it's a good dream, but reality is different, all right? And I'm trying to understand this, and I hope I succeeded, but not everyone can think this way, right? So realistically, guys, all right, like France, Western Europe, what's the deal? Like, should France even care what is happening in Ukraine? All right, on the other side of Europe. If you ask that, I don't know, to a third grader, for example, the answer would be like, of course not. All right, fifth grader maybe answer differently. Maybe some like 9th, 11th grader will tell you, well, I think yes, because there was like World War II and then geopolitics and then like Cold War. So yes, I think they might care. And already older people, students of the universities, they might say, well, yeah, because we are in the same geopolitical space and there's a European Union and different countries, international partnership and trade and everything else, and NATO, and then there are like Russian bloc, Chinese bloc. So yeah, they should care. So that is kind of complicated. And if we're talking about European countries that have plenty of their very, very own problems, countries that have problems with, I don't know, starting from immigration and finishing with whatever, pensions, all right. I can understand that they might look at Ukraine, located 2,000 kilometers away, and think, well, maybe that's not the priority. But inevitably, unfortunately, I can see that Putin is moving towards invasion of Europe, and eventually he will conduct it. So one day we will find ourselves in the same boat, maybe even sharing the same bomb shelter. I believe that if I'm given a chance to join Bundeswehr, for example, that will be something absolutely incredible. I will literally join it for the very sake of experience. That would be really cool. Um, There's someone breaking into homes and murdering residents for personal gain in your neighborhood. You worry. Yeah, absolutely. Again, a lot of people have, let's say, develop feeling of social responsibility, all right, of collective social responsibility. That is good, but not everyone is like that. People are very, very different, and not all of them think like that. Literally, being stuck at the gas station, with that battery in my car, I don't often think about what is going on, like, with my neighbors, all right, especially in a different country. But it doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, all right? It doesn't mean that everybody should be like that. Because if you are subscribed to my channel, it means that you came here because we have similar thinking, all right? And the similar thinking, including all those values that make Europe a beautiful place, and all those European countries, strong countries with strong values and strong economics and people's welfare on the first place, that is protected by the collective security and safety. That is something that is uniting all of us, all right? It's something that makes us basically a family, because this is the way we think. We understand that even if something is happening as far as in Taiwan, for example, we should still care because it's important, because they are people, because in 2025, 2026, soon, the world stopped being like this huge unlimited space, all right? The world became very, very small, actually, and it's very easy to feel the result of things that are taking place on the other side of the globe. Very easy. So we should always care. Yeah, and as Lando says, we wouldn't be if we didn't care. Absolutely, absolutely. I don't want to be very sentimental. Yeah, like yesterday, I felt like that, but luckily I didn't stream. But I learn a lot from you, my friends. Seriously, and me in like 2022 is a completely different man than in 2025 because of you. Because you actually give me a lot of knowledge, you actually motivate me to learn, all right? So you actually tell me, dude, you were wrong here because this shit is fake, all right? And I think, holy crap, yeah, you're right. And you say, like, dude, like, the joke was funny, but it was fucking inappropriate, all right? Like, why? Well, because, all right, there are those and those people. And I start thinking, I start fucking evolving, all right? Back in 2022 in Ukraine was and is a free and democratic place where you can say anything on the streets, whatever. And at times what you're saying on those streets, it might be considered like, slightly offensive towards other people. At times, not because you are racist or fascist or whatever, but literally because we got used to that. We got used to have this right of free speech, and we use and abuse this right in Ukraine. For many years, it was like that for many years, as long as I remember myself. And one thing that we don't often think about is actually other people, because we often forget about the feeling of respect, the necessity of respecting others. All right. And that is something that I 100% learned from you, my friends. That is something that I started discovering and understanding in 2022 back in Kyiv, when Kyiv was under siege, and that is something that I will always be grateful for to you, my friends, because that is something that I learned from you and keep learning. So let's not cry, all right? I won't cry, I promise. But let's check out some other footage. So here we have some Russian fuck. Another amazing video, another amazing testimony coming from the Russian terrorists. And it's very interesting what he's saying, because I actually would like to make a database of such videos, because those can go straight to The Hague, all right? And of course I will translate it for you.
Много плохого видел, я тоже много плохого сделал уже там.
So he says, in Ukraine we have seen and did a lot of bad things, and I also have seen and did a lot of bad things, a lot of horrible things, all right? We can see that this Russian terrorist is actually sorry for what he's did. He has apparently a very deep and beautiful soul, right? Like very big, warm heart, all right? Heart of the Russian terrorist.
Знаешь как? Украинцы спрятались, короче, да, в доме, частном доме.
So he says, for example, Ukrainians took cover in a country house, all right? In the basement of the country house.
Короче, солдат, я сержантом был, короче, сержант ногой пихнул, короче, дверь.
He says, soldiers and the sergeant, he said, I was a sergeant in my unit, we opened the door.
А я с угла вышел, короче, сразу начал пихнуть, короче, с автомата, короче.
And he said, as soon as they opened the door to the basement where those people were hiding, he said, I immediately started shooting from behind the corner, from my assault rifle.
Убил, короче, девушку одну и 2 детей.
And he said, I killed one young woman and 2 children.
Это меня никогда я не забуду это.
He says, I will never forget this. I fucking bet you will not.
Никогда в своей жизни не забуду, брат.
He says, brother, I will never forget this in my entire life.
Вот. После этого я стал курить много, я вообще не курил, не пил вообще.
And he says, after that I started smoking a lot, I started drinking. Before that it would never happen.
Курить много стал и пить начал.
He says, yeah, I started smoking and drinking. Oh my God, poor Russian terrorist who did nothing wrong, like he just killed a Ukrainian woman and 2 kids that were taking cover in the basement. Such a horrible feeling. I have such a pity to this to this Russian terrorist there on the screens, who actually blames the victims that he killed. He blames them for smoking and drinking that he started after killing him. That is I don't know how to comment on this one. I lack skills of English language to comment on this one. But yeah, poor guy, poor Russian guy. And looking at him, you probably noticed that he doesn't look like Putin much, right? He looks like a common Russian dude from Caucasian part of Russia that literally signed contract in the prison, all right? Instead of doing his time, eating fucking balanda in the Russian prison, he signed contract and basically went to the war, to a foreign country, and started killing civilians. So that is one of the stories Such a poor Russian guy. Oh my God, I feel such a pity. And he's not the only one. Approximately 200,000, a bit less than that, but approximately 200,000 criminal cases are being investigated against the Russian thugs. And as you probably remember, 200,000 is the overall number of that first Russian army that invaded Ukraine in 2022. There were around 200,000 Russian terrorists invading Ukraine at all right? And currently, Ukrainian authorities are investigating 200,000 criminal cases against the Russian war criminals. That is 1/5 of a fucking million. So people like that are actually the face of the Russian terrorism. And by the way, when Russia starts invading other countries, European countries, when Russia actually helps all sorts of different marginal movements to acquire power in European countries and exit NATO, exit European Union, dudes like him will be coming to your countries, all right? Dudes like him wearing Russian uniforms will be opening your basements and shooting your people wherever you are, all right? That is like Russian soul, Russian style. When Tucker Carlson says that actually United States could learn a lot from Russians, that is basically what United States can learn from the Russian terrorists, how to invade other countries and eliminate civilians like that. All right. And then like drink and smoke, feeling those internal tortures from what they did, such bad things. That's like completely Russian style. So let's talk just a bit about the Russian drone attack that took place this morning. Here in this picture, there is a movement of terror Russian drones and also missiles. All the yellow marks, that is Russian Shaheds. The green ones, that's missiles, as well as the blue ones and orange. These reds are also missiles. You can see that the main vector of the attack was Kyiv. It was also Donetsk area and Odessa. All right, and also Kyiv Oblast. You can see that there were strikes in Bila Tserkva, just south of Ukraine, and also south of Kyiv, and north of Kyiv Oblast, north from Kyiv, all right, from the Kyiv city. They were targeting there as well. I believe that is like area of Vyzhgorod and Hostomel a bit to the west, around Vyzhgorod, around that. But here we also have something different, because this one is like drones flying the opposite way. Here you can see that as soon as the Russian thugs started striking Ukraine with drones and missiles, immediately Ukrainians traditionally sent their good Ukrainian drones towards such places as Kaluga, Kursk, Bryansk, Smolensk, generally towards Moscow. How exactly did it end for Russian terrorists? I cannot tell you because I don't have much details so far on this counterattack, but it's actually very good to observe that every single time the thugs are launching their drones and missiles at Ukraine, they always receive immediate payback, immediate karma. All right. So as of 13:45, as of almost 2 p.m. today, Ukrainian drones were already flying towards Moscow Oblast and towards Crimea, by the way. Next video I will show you, but first let me check out some questions and also drink my coffee, all right? It's already cold. So next video, I promise, this is the Russian cringe, all right? So now we can just relax and laugh, and you will like this one, because not a single animal in this video was harmed, all right? I promise. So, as usual, USA has not mentioned the latest Russian war crimes with a single word. Not with this administration, my friend, because this administration doesn't do that. I'm not sure if it's a direct request or maybe direct order from Kremlin. So Trump will never speak out things like Russian committed war crime or Russian aggressors or things like that. I believe that he only called Russians aggressors once, but he actually called Ukrainians aggressors more times than Russians, all right? He said that Ukraine invaded Russia more times than when he said that Russia invaded Ukraine. So it's not Trump's case. He will never say that loudly, all right? He will never call Russians invaders, terrorists, whatever. But at the same time, it's important to remember that 2022, in November, shortly after Russia was recognized a terrorist regime by the Parliamentary Assembly of European Council, in November, Parliamentary Assembly of NATO also recognized Russia a terrorist state. So basically, they recognized that Russia is a terrorist regime, all right? That Russia commits terrorist attacks and Russians are terrorists. And why it's important is because those are NATO countries, all NATO countries, including the United States, all right? So those countries recognized Russia a terrorist regime, something that Trump is trying to undo these days. Coffee, oh my God. My brother called today and we had like 50-minute chat. He's like, what's with your voice? And it's in the afternoon. And I'm like, I don't know. Oh my God. It was a great birthday yesterday. We will talk about it. Let's check out this cringy video because I cannot wait to share it with you.
And for the horses.
There was another cavalry attack, and again, I can show it, at least some of this video, I can show it on screen because not a single enemy, enemies did, not a single animal was hurt in this video. We can see another example of Russian cavalry attack. Still in the commentaries, you can check out a lot of different degenerates saying that Russia is mighty, Russia will never be defeated. Russia is just very, very patient with you, Ukrainians, right? Russia didn't even start a fight. And they are sending those poor Russian fucks on horses, all right? You can see the Russian cavalrists, all right? And basically Ukrainian drone. So this one is really cool because the drone operator fucking managed to make that Russian soldier, Russian fucking terrorist drop on the ground, all right? The horse ran away, as you can see. Ran away healthy, and I hope that this horse will live a long and peaceful life. And then he basically turned this Russian terrorist into a fertilizer for Ukrainian corn. So this one is high class. Actually, the way he performed this, you know, like sparing the life of the poor animal and literally giving Russian terrorists what he was born for. So, wait a minute. There was some really, really cool commentary. I've lost it. Ellie, much love to Roman. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, Roman like he had a surgery, all right, recently. Luckily, nothing really bad. It could go really bad, but luckily he's fine. But if you tell him a couple of words in the commentaries, for example, and wish him health and fast recovery, I will appreciate that, because he went through surgery and this shit is very, very disturbing and annoying these days. So, amazing handling of Ukrainian drone, we can see here that is like top pilotage, all right? That is something really cool. I cannot do that even in like flight simulator, which, by the way, we will talk about in some other videos. Here you can see the North Korean. You probably already recognized that those missiles are North Korean. Those are KN-23 missiles that Russia is using to hit Ukraine, all right? Recently, they showcased the scale of production of those missiles, because currently, as you know, North Koreans turned into this like big technological / weaponry hub to supply the terrorist federation. So those are the detonators. Those are also missiles, rather rockets, right? The acceleration modules. So the scale is impressive, and again you can see that Russians are using all that shit to strike Ukraine. Why? Because Russia is so magnificently strong and they have such a developed industry that Russia cannot even fucking follow its pace or rights of its invasion in Ukraine. They cannot produce enough shit to support their invasion of a foreign country that they started themselves. And that is why they have to buy that shit in North Korea, their bestest and closest allies as for now. Yes, Matt, we will talk about Drone Flight Simulator, but we will talk about it a bit later, okay? Because I want to make like a small review of that, and I need a bit more time, but I don't have it. Russian channel, all right? Russian first channel reports, and that is at anti-fake of the Insider, of the news outlet Insider. Anti-fake, oh my god, I can translate it in English actually, all right? So I don't have to break my tongue and actually translate it in an ugly way for my friends. So in Ukraine, Orthodox churches are being turned into cinemas and discos. That is literally the report that was aired in Russia on the Russian national television, because again, you know that there are talking heads like again Tucker Carlson, who says that Zelensky banned Christianity. Zelensky banned Christian faith in Ukraine, which is completely fucking wrong. And unfortunately for us, Russian church is still very much active on Ukrainian territory. Nobody banned the Russian church. It is big misfortune, but they are still active and they still do their sermons and everything else. The churches are open. They kind of pray for peace, but at the same time they tell their parishes that Russians are doing great thing by invading Ukraine, by destroying your houses because they are your brothers, and our enemies are like in the government, and also our enemies are speaking your Ukrainian language. So that is literally what the Russian church is doing in Ukraine. why did they make this fake? All right, because it's literally like that. They say it is unknown what rituals are in use among militant schismatics, what provokes a flow bordering on the madness of heresy. Let's say the biblical principle, do not wish harm on your neighbor, is alien to Zelensky, just as indeed to any atheist everything that forms the basis of faith is alien, and the Christian holiday is just another reason to spray poison. Ukrainians switched to celebrating Christmas on 25th of December, just like any other European nation. Like European Christians or people around the world, because Zelensky and other Ukrainians hate Christianity so fucking much. That is fucking insane, but this stuff was already debunked several times. But it's very important to understand why Russians are saying this, that Ukrainians are establishing like freaking circuses and horse stables in the churches. Because if you Google what the Russian Bolsheviks did to the Orthodox Church, not only in Ukraine, but also on the Russian territory before like 1940s, you will see that they did exactly that. All right, Russian NKVD, which by the way, Putin believes that he's like descendant of, right, that he's proud guy who just continues the beautiful traditions of NKVD, Cheka, and everything else. So those motherfuckers were the ones who actually were shooting and executing the priests, the Orthodox priests, and basically eliminated majority of those guys who were sharing the ideas of Jesus Christ and everything else in the Soviet Empire. So they were actually those who were actually establishing things like horse stables, like Russian scouts palaces in the destroyed churches, in the looted churches that were stripped out of gold and everything else. We know, right, how they used that. And craziest shit is that when Nazi Germans invaded Soviet Union, when they, for example, invaded Ukraine and captured a lot of territory, they actually let people to go to church. Of course, after that, they also shot a lot of people in Ukraine and moved a lot of people from Ukraine, including my great-great-grandpa. But they actually allowed the people to go to church, which, by the way, is a very interesting topic because Nazi Germans also had a very specific approach to Christianity, because the Hitler didn't want to acknowledge that Jesus Christ was a Jew, because it was like very cringy for him, and that is why they invented something different. It's a crazy thing. And probably just to finish today's update, I want to show you something else, because the Russian attack was continuing in Ukraine for almost 10 hours. All right. Russian drones, waves after wave, coming to Kyiv and Kyiv region, striking it. And it was 10th hour of Russian strike. And some of the guys literally recorded a Ukrainian babusa washing the window, all right, of her home, because Russian drones, fuck that shit, like windows should be clean, all right, like she doesn't care. That is literally Ukrainian resilience right there. We just don't fucking care, all right. There's something more important than the pedo-Russian strike, all right. Something should be done. So that one is absolutely cute. Oh my God. I've seen a lot of that. But to me, to me, all those scenes were absolutely natural. Okay. Why the Russians attack mainly on Friday night? So, according to the information that we have right now, and according to different reports coming from Ukrainian intelligence services, Russians basically conduct a strike every 10 days. Not precisely 10 days, but within those frames. So every 10 days, or approximately every 10 days, we can expect another massive Russian drone and missile strike. Is it live with the woman in the window? It was live. Like she's fine. She was just washing windows during the drone strike, which, as a former military, I don't really support, because you don't do that during the drone attack. But at the same time, some of the most inspiring things are born, in cases like that. Friends, thank you so much for all the wishes to my brother. I will let him know. My mom will definitely let him know, because she's watching my streams. However, I don't really think that she saw my previous stream where I talked about my plant I was growing in my closet when I was a teenager. Because she didn't comment on that. Maybe she didn't understand, or maybe it's like, if I start talking like this with an accent, maybe her translator doesn't work on the YouTube, so I can say shit. Okay, let's have some coffee and chat. I will tell you some of my experience yesterday, because again, yesterday, I have very intense working days. It's for example, Monday. I rarely stream on Monday, because on Monday there's a lot of media monitoring, a lot of different videos to be made and stuff like that. Also Friday. And this Friday was very busy, and I did interview with Professor Tim Wilson, by the way. Check it out on UATV. I think that one was probably some of the most emotional ones, some of the coolest ones, some of the warmest ones that I had. And the classic British humor and wit, that is something that you cannot find anywhere else. So my mom used to water this plant because she didn't know what it was. My friend, my mom, I think she knows what it is. I think she does. Yeah, so this Friday, it was exactly like that yesterday. And after all that, I had to go to the birthday party. So my car barely starts because of the battery. And also one of our dear family members, right, donated 150 euro on my PayPal. I will probably buy the battery using those money. Thank you so much, by the way. So I finished everything, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be ready. I gotta run. And then my editor sent me messages saying like, can you please fix that? And I'm like, shit. And I'm struggling, and I understand that the earliest I can be there at 7 p.m., all right? And all that time, they are waiting for me. Instead of just celebrating, they're waiting for me. That's crazy. And I'm finishing everything, and then I drive a long way, by the way. I drive, and then I arrive, and I'm still thinking about interview 4 videos I made yesterday for my channel as well. And we are having party, and that was freaking insane. That was insane because the food was good. I enjoyed. We had pelmeni, we had potato, we had fish, we had amazing cake like that. It's a custom-made cake with chocolate. There's like a whole plate of chocolate on top of it. It melted, and those marshmallow like flowers and mushrooms, because like she's a girl, she's a lady, she likes flowers and stuff. And the cake was amazing, cake with chocolate, with bananas. I was just so happy. And then we played Mafia until midnight. The kid made 6 big grown-ups cry and plead and beg her like to end this torture around midnight, because we all wanted to sleep. The grandpa with like the glass of whiskey already just switched off in the chair, and we kept playing. And I attempted to even retreat to the kitchen, but unfortunately you cannot run fast from the kids, because 10-year-olds will always catch you, all right? Especially if you're wearing Crocs like me. And I realized that I should just withstand this torture literally 2 a.m. After 2 a.m. I arrived home, and I went straight to bed. But it was good. It was a good. And by the way, you can see that tiny operator Starsky there is holding Mabakhandula, my faithful and dedicated duck that I will be missing. Because Ellie's laughing because of my Crocs. I know. Those are not my Crocs, by the way. My Crocs are different color. So, friends, Mafia, like the game, like not the computer game, but like the table game. All right, it's played with real people. So I will be missing Mabakhandula. The only one who keeps me warm, like in this tiny studio on this side of the screen, is Frankie the friendly shark. But I will keep Frankie to myself, because I like sharks. But that's like Mabakhandula, and she liked Mabakhandula. So the duck will serve and protect. Okay. So it was kind of fun. The food was good. I was so sleepy. And we laughed so freaking much. And that is the reason why this morning, I literally couldn't even speak properly. I could just, so it was really nice. We made a lot of like crazy pictures, like when you take a photo with the wide angle holding the phone very close to you. The result can be absolutely astonishing sometimes, because if you take a photo from here, like you have like this long nose, and then you have like you take a picture from the low angle, you have like those big chins and like the nostrils and stuff like that. And I think I will make a lot of like family photos, will print them out, because it's really cool. I always dreamt when I was a kid myself, I always dreamt of being like that very fucked up uncle, or like that very fucked up dad who always spoils his kids, his nephews, nieces, because like kids deserve all that. I mean, shit, moms always hate me for that, because I just allow them to misbehave. I will let them fucking play games on the phone hours straight, because in the end they will say, He is the dude, all right? Like, he is the dude. Mama, I see you every day, you know, like, oh, I'm tired of you. Daddy, who allows me to, like, play like crazy, eat fucking chocolates, like, do whatever I like. That is the proper way of, establishing good memories about you. So that is something that Landis, I'm the same way. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And it's like when we all say like a toast, you know, for the happy birthday, and I say a couple of words, and then grandma says a couple of words, and then like aunties and uncles say a couple of words, and she gets tired of listening of all that, and eventually, you know, she like starts misbehaving. I'm like laughing like crazy, and she gets schooled by her auntie, not me sitting like next to her, but like by other people. It was kind of fun. And then she started she said like, thank you very much for attending my birthday, for all those beautiful wishes and beautiful presents. What to wish for myself? I wish myself a lot of money. I wish myself a great husband. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's, too early for that. So, it was a good day. It was a good day. I survived it. I returned home safely, almost mentally healthy, almost. Yeah, but extremely happy. We saw Dolly Parton license plates. She runs a non-profit that gives kids free books until they reach school age. Has donated like 100 million books to children. That is insane. I instigate mischief, and with kids they get me in trouble, not them. That's what they always do. I am the walrus, dude, duder, el dudarino, if you're not into the whole brewery thing. I don't know. But she sees me and she's like, oh, daddy, you're growing hair. I'm like, yeah. She's like, why it's on the wrong side? What I can say. My kids played lots of computer games when they were young. Now they're grown up, successful computer geniuses doing good things in the world. 100%. That is my approach. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how did you spend your post-holiday Friday, Saturday? I hope it was good. Yeah, Sarah, that's what she calls me. That's what she calls me. What is the best scenario for Ukraine after the war is over? The best scenario is to immediately have presidential elections, start rebuilding, receive reparations from the Russian terrorists, which I believe will be received, and basically expect to see all the Russian war criminals behind the bars. I think that's the best case. And also, if NATO still exists after the war, then of course, NATO membership. That's why I prefer the kids' table. I really don't. I really don't. But when I'm forced to, I have no other choice. Like, I will not allow myself to be like a boring dad or like a boring uncle. Kind of sucks. There's a lot of boring grown-ups. There were a lot of them when I was a kid. You want to chat to somebody, they just like, you go, dude. I stuck the biggest caterpillar into my nostril yesterday. How exciting is that? Like, in my 6-year-old life, that is some of the coolest achievements I made, literally. And the grown-ups will be like, whatever. Like, it sucks. It sucks. You gotta encourage people, the kids to conduct big achievements, right? It's important. Sometimes you stay in so still think. Yeah, I know about that. I have no idea why. That's one thing about me, because I could just freeze on place forever. I know about this feature. I have no idea why it happens like that. My another feature is that every time they take a picture of me, or every time I met my friends, every time I meet my colleagues or whatever, they all look at me and say, "What's wrong with you? Everything's fine." Like, yeah. Are you depressed? Something happened? I'm like, no, everything's fucking fine. Why do you look like that? I'm like, what? What do I look like? You look as if something's wrong. And I hear that for my whole fucking life. I don't know why is it so, but that's what they say. And probably I realized why. That's because, like, among the grumpy Slavs, I'm probably like the most like prominent representative of this society, of like grumpy Eastern Europeans. Maybe, I don't know. And that I am not the one who will be like sitting grumpily, but that's what people I work with, people that are my friend, that's what they always say. They like, something's wrong. Fucking no, that's just my face. I'm like, that hide the pain doctor, that dude from the internet. Yeah. Great party was yesterday, and also the kid mentioned her 2 godfathers. Like, it was a bit sad because she said, I had 2 godfathers, but now I have 1. And I remember my good friend Vlad, who died from the Russian drone several months ago. I talked about him. I dedicated a whole stream to Vlad. So he was her godfather. Yeah, so she was a bit upset about that she won't see him again anymore. Yeah, but besides that, the party was good. Smile in your liver sometimes. That's what we do. That's what we do. You know what they say? Military cry and pee inside themselves. What do Ukrainians think about the credibility of NATO's security umbrella in general these days? Not very much. Especially looking at Donald Trump Putin, we don't really trust much. I believe that other Europeans also share this, all right? Like looking at what is happening in the White House, I believe that this is something that is shared by a lot of Europeans nowadays. Still, a lot of them think that they are under the good, strong umbrella, and Europe has population of 500,000 people, like Russia cannot compare and everything else. 500,000 people, 500 million people, oh my God. But at the same time, it's very, very easy to exit NATO, just as easy as join it turns out. So that's a big concern. Is Hippo your dog? Yes, that is Ellie's dog. And that's a legendary dog. That dog even doesn't know how much legendary she is. Does anybody believe in NATO as Trump? Just as much as we believe in peace with Putin. Bonsoir! How are you? How are you, my friends? Glory and love to the beautiful France. And like immediately. So I was surfing a lot of documents this morning after I woke up, and then several hours later when my brain started, after my body. My body woke up and was like, nah, kill me. And then my brain started. And when my brain started, I checked out several dozens of files. Currently, I am digging very, very much, and this is something that we will see tomorrow during the stream. I'm digging very much into Epstein's connections with Russians after that Jabrailov. So there is some very interesting information about Epstein's desire to get in contact with Putin, with Lavrov, and there is one very, very particular and very interesting reason why he needed that connection. Not only related to his illicit activities, but also other activities. So that is something I will be talking tomorrow, and I hope you will like it, because I have to build this very, very big mind map, because I cannot keep everything in mind. How can we improve the cooperation between Ukraine and other European countries? Two things. First of all, work more with Ukrainians in terms of drones. That's absolutely necessary, because in the future we will happy holidays, my friend. That's absolutely crucial, because all the future wars will be like that, and they will be evolving, all right? But they will never be like the Gulf War, for example, anymore, all right? Never. So they will always involve things like this: drones equipped with charges or drop charges or electronic warfare or something else. So work with Ukrainians in terms of drones. Second thing, which is even more crucial, all right? No matter how much you love Ukrainians, no matter how much you admire, all right, Ukrainian leadership, fucking always, and this is my personal request, all right, fucking always talk about the necessity of fighting corruption, all right? Always criticize Ukrainians in terms of corruption. Ukrainian citizens, Ukrainian civilians fucking hate this shit, all right? We feel embarrassed when we hear or see anything like that being discovered. We also feel happy because we understand that the fight against corruption continues, which is great. That is the reason why people even hear about this, all right? Why people can even read about such events. In the news, it's not like, if we don't fight corruption and we don't read about it, then it's fine. No, we should talk about it. That is why my request as a Ukrainian is always talk about this, all right? Always help Ukrainians to fight this fucking shit that, by the way, Ukrainians received from decades of being under Russian occupation. Because that is something that came to us from Moscow. And though corruption is globally a problem, I completely agree with you. Every country has that shit. But specifically in Ukraine, corruption was planted, all right, in Ukraine by Russian Bolsheviks, by all the fucking communists, because we didn't have it on such a scale previously. We were not like that, all right? And that is why all that filth that Russia left after it, all right, that is something that we should get rid of completely. That is why I hope that international society will keep watching, and we will help each other. We are a generation that is changing the perspective. Talk and change is what we all must do. Absolutely, absolutely. That is our mission, actually. My country is a member of the EU and NATO. Corruption is rampant. Complaints about Ukraine's corruption aren't a reason to end support. They're an excuse. Yeah, I agree on that. Again, when you take a look at terrorist federation, you can see that in Russia, corruption, it's not like a crime, it's like a feature, all right? If you don't steal, you're doing something wrong. You're probably, something's wrong with you, because that is something that make a Russian person Russian, all right? That is something that Tucker Carlson lacks in the Americans very, very much. He wants Americans to learn that from Russians as well. Corruption, all that crazy shit. I don't want to hear about corruption in Ukraine when I see what is going on in the US today. Oh, I can agree with you, my friends, and I don't know what to comment on this. I can only say that American people are very strong, all right? Whatever people say, and people may say different things, but American people are very strong, and if they face shit like this, which, by the way, I don't think they faced in years, maybe, if not the decades in the United States. But if they face shit like this, they absolutely know how to react. They have clear understanding. Nobody understands how to fight against tyranny, against suppression of freedoms than American people. That is something that us Ukrainians learned from Americans. That is something that the whole world learned from you guys. So I'm sure that you will do everything all right. US is becoming very corrupt now, specifically the White House. But I heard in the commentaries that that huge aircraft from Qatar, that it was just a gift. It was just a friendly gift. I don't know. Someone was very upset in the commentaries the other day when I mentioned that aircraft. They're like, that was a gift. That, the friendly gesture from our Qatar troops. Yes, they will have their own base on the American territory, but that's just a coincidence. It happens all the time. You know, that's not a corruption at all. My major was psychology, and I'm aeromedical evac. Oh, Russia has normalized a narcissistic society through propaganda and targeted poverty. Trump's trying the same here in the USA. Look, Ukrainians went through the revolution of dignity, and we went through a lot of fuckery, all right? We went through fuckery when our guy, our candidate was poisoned, and then our voices were stolen, and then the court confirmed that they were stolen, and then our guy won, and then he fucked us up and basically betrayed the people who vote for them because pro-Russian fucks came after him, and then we had to do the revolution after they tried to beat up our teenagers on the streets brutally, and we couldn't let that happen, and we realized that they were still in our future. And Ukrainians went through so much fucked up shit, you know. Ukrainians don't trust anybody, all right? They don't trust anyone because especially Ukrainian politicians, that they keep fucking voting for. Just like in any other country, I think. Because despite all the differences, we are still very much similar in many things. And what is taking place in the United States is something that we can easily understand and feel because we also went through this. And I believe that a lot of European nations also went through this. Okay, so we completely understand and feel you, and if your rights are being suppressed and when you are being attacked and treated like that, we will always be supporting you, and we will always be on your side. Trust me. Have you tried Nemirov vodka? I did. I tried the Silver Nemirov, as far as I remember, but it was so many years ago. I cannot tell you even what it smells like. I forgot. We should not admire politicians, we have to control the politicians. Absolutely, absolutely. This should be a quote. This should be a quote, absolutely. Don't have gods, don't make idols, because idols usually collapse on stage, you know. Don't have gods, don't have kings, all right? Mortals are mortals. They're just humans, and they have no power unless we give them the power. That's something we should always keep in mind. And there are no gods and kids on earth, all right? Gods and kings on earth. They're just humans. And some of them, unfortunately, forget that they will always face responsibility for what they do. Because look at Ceausescu, right? Look at Gaddafi, look at Saddam, look at Milosevic, look at Karadzic, many people. Look at Prigozhin, look at so many of them, all right? Like, I can list them for the whole evening, but the point is they will always face responsibility. Hello to the beautiful New Zealand. Hello, our dear Kiwi friends. How are you doing? We let them get away with too much Russell. Yeah. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. I personally believe in karma and in some of the previous episodes. We talked about that, all right? Karma works. Karma really works. It does. Sometimes karma requires a bunch of angry guys, all right, that make it work. But it works. Look at Assad. Yeah, absolutely. Assad is one of the greatest examples. And currently, Assad, he's not in hell yet. He's like in the purgatory, all right? He's not in the hell yet, but he'll be there after the Putin's collapse. In the US, though, we now have a super lobbies, no thanks to Citizens United, and them calling money speech and an idea of corporate personhood. Fuck Putin, by the way. I don't know if I said that enough times today. I agree. We should remind ourselves why it's necessary to for Putin to be fucked. Karma may also be an old Indian woman with a long fire poker. How will quiet and sympathetic people even get elected? They won't. That's the thing. They won't. Being a politician, of course, you know that it's like a second most ancient profession, right? But being a politician is an art. You gotta, not maybe even an art, it's like a mission, like something you should be really born for, or spend a lot of time preparing for. Like Demosthenes, all right, Demosthenes in Greece. The dude couldn't even speak properly, all right? So he trained a lot and he developed those skills. And as a former communication specialist and former PR manager, I know that there's a lot of guys who want to get to the parliament, all right? And they are basically, they're nothing. They cannot speak. They want us to make them charismatic and attractive. And everybody has them. Trump has them a lot. Trump has them. Any politician has them. Anyone. We are basically the people. Thank God I'm not doing that professionally anymore. All right? Because to some extent it's really cringy when you think about that. We are the people who actually help somebody who doesn't have leadership skills, who doesn't talk properly, right? We help them become better, become somebody, all right? Become leaders. We train them how to speak properly. And that's kind of cringy. I don't know if it's like a proper thing. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I believe that people that are either born or made leaders, they don't need PR managers at all right? They might need some advisors, all right? But PR like, fuck that shit. But that's just old-fashioned part of me, because I know that is absolutely crucial today. Tiny decisions and tiny things that you can do publicly can absolutely change any fucking thing. Remember Elon Musk throwing NASA salute? That's what I'm saying. That is why Elon Musk actually needs one, all right? But I'm happy that he doesn't have one. Carney got elected in Canada and he's a pretty quiet guy. Also not a politician, he's an economist. Ooh. Those are kind of cool, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, boring nerds are probably the coolest. Especially if they're lazy. You know why? Because lazy people always invent something that helps them be even lazier, all right? So, like, if it's a lazy economist, boring as hell, that's probably the best choice. Not as entertaining on the television as, I don't know, President Macron, for example. But still. You're making me think of Manafort who got Trump elected. Yeah, that is something that, by the way, I also try to investigate because I'm looking at the Epstein files these days and I'm trying to find links between Epstein and Manafort. I know that some of the investigators pointed at some of the links between Epstein and Manafort, because if there's a link between Epstein and Manafort, there's also a link between Manafort and Russians, for example. But there is no solid proof that such link exists. There are some like rumors. I don't really use rumors, all right, conducting my investigation. But at the same time, guys, we don't know much. Those thousands of documents that were released, it's like it's less than 1%, because there's like 1 million files out there, all right, waiting to be released. And in those files, I believe we will see much more interesting things than we saw already in the files that were published. I believe that we will see a lot of crazy shit. Elvin Archer, hello, my dear friend. Many blessings to you too. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, if you do. Carney was the central bank chief of Canada, then the UK. I believe that it makes him a very, very smart man. They did only release a part of the list, so there's a lot left. Yeah. One of the things that I'm checking a lot nowadays, I'm not doing it myself because there's already plenty of videos are published regarding the co-conspirators, all right, because it was stated multiple times that Epstein only did what he did, himself, without any help, without any client list and whatever. And then FBI actually says in their reports that there were at least 10 co-conspirators, and they list those people. So that is something I'm checking out on YouTube a lot. Ian, tell me how to read it properly. Ian Carroll, I think, one of the investigators, very, very interesting. YouTube channel, I subscribe to it. That's, by the way, the source where I learned about Jabrailov. And also many others, right? Even JD Delay, all right? The formerly incarcerated. I know that he's conservative. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who don't really watch his content, but he's also into this investigation very, very much, because he actually made quite a few PDF files suffer. That is why I respect him so much. So his channel, by the way, is extremely interesting to watch. Him and also Larry Lawton, I expect those guys very, very much. So, what else? What else can we talk about? I'm investigating those files now and trying to find more and more Russian links. And actually, I realized that Epstein was not only Israeli asset. A lot of people say about that. I am not very familiar with that side, all right? I am familiar with whatever is happening in like this corner of Europe, like the Eastern Europe. That is why I'm investigating his links to Russians, and I can see why he was searching for them. So that's something that we'll be talking tomorrow on the stream. And I will even try to present some of my research, all right? If I press super chat, only membership comes up. My friend, that is literally because I don't have super chats here. All right, super chats, they are amazing, and a lot of YouTubers love them. But it's like we are all writing commentaries in the chat, and if you pay, your commentary can't be seen. All right. I think that it's not really fair to other people. That is why if I read your comments, you have the same chance of being seen as other people in the chat. If I miss your comment, that is literally because I'm stupid, all right? That's the only reason. So that is why I don't use super chats, and probably I never will. What time is stream tomorrow? I believe it will be in the evening, most probably around 8, 9 p.m. Berlin time. Maybe earlier. If I'm too impatient, it will be earlier, all right? Do you think Epstein could have been collecting compromise for the Kremlin gremlins? He had a different reason. He wanted to, he kind of wanted to serve as, you know, like wannabe political advisor for Russians. But thanks, I became a member. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Your support helps my channel big time. You don't even understand how much I appreciate this help. But he could have sent them some kind of compromise, because I know that Russians would definitely ask him for this. And for example, there was a lot of cameras installed around the Epstein's mansions. We know that. And even though the cameras were found, but the records, nobody knows where they are. So where can they be? Can they be destroyed, or can they be sent to like a safe place? And maybe even somewhere outside the United States. We don't know. We are now on the territory of conspiracies, and I literally have no proofs or disproofs if those records could be there. There are some testimonies of witnesses, all right, that say that, yeah, there were records, for example, of Donald Trump, all right, engaged in different illicit activities. But again, that is something that somebody anonymously reported to the FBI. And there's nothing about that in, for example, email correspondence or notes or whatever, or testimonies. But again, we only saw less than 1% of everything. All right, that is why we're just like scraping the surface as much as we can. Lady K1, I appreciate your Starsky. Your channel was the first channel I subscribed on the YouTube. Oh my god, thank you so much. That's such a pleasure to hear that. I assume he traded compromise and political favors with many places, including Russia. That could be the case as well, because we know that he widely used compromise and blackmailing to negotiate. In some of his messages with Ghislaine, she says that we have some records, all right, of different people, and those records will help you negotiate. So we understand that he used that stuff, and not all of his life was spent behind the computer writing emails. All right, there were a lot of things that were said or done in the offline. You will receive crucial things from Sweden. Yeah, we're looking forward. So he definitely was an asset, and he could be asset for different other agencies, right? Not only for example, allegedly, like Mossad. I don't know. He could be, he could not be. I don't really know, and frankly speaking, I'm not really interested like in that part of the world. My main interest right now, most obviously and naturally, is Eastern Europe, Ukraine, everything related. He wanted to help Russians find approach to Trump. All right. And though we don't have anything that confirms that, but we know that in the end, Russians found approach to Donald Trump. So most probably he succeeded with his mission before he went behind the bars where he belonged. I would argue that most of what we want out of the Epstein files is the power, negotiations, and treason for national interests. The pedo stuff is legal key to open them, though. Yeah. I really hope that we will see more of the files released soon, and I hope that they will not be so heavily redacted, because at this point, what we can definitely see. Hey, Disco San Andreas, hello, my friend. Hello, greetings to beautiful Orlando. It was a while. It's been a while. Good to see you here. So we are talking about Epstein files, and one thing that makes me absolutely fucking mad, all right, regarding those files is that I hate bullshitters. I hate liars, all right? And when they say that there are no Epstein files, and then they say, like, there are few, all right? They're on my table. And then they say, they don't exist. And then they say, like, we found 1 million more, all right? And then when you open them and you see that they are actually redacting fucking co-conspirators, that is something I don't like. That is something I don't like. As a person, all right? As a random person from the internet. That is something I don't like and I don't respect. And when I see that shit being done, I tell you this, I know why it makes me so triggered. That is because we had so many cases with, during the regime of Yanukovych in Ukraine. We had extremely fucking corrupted courts. All that system was fucking rotten throughout. And when they would arrest journalists and activists, and when they would fabricate things, when they would forge evidence, and when they would not accept evidence proving that they're not guilty and things like that. I know, because I've been to multiple different hearings, all right, in the court regarding different Ukrainian political activists, and Ukrainian journalists that were tried by the pro-Russians motherfuckers. That is why it triggers me so much. All right, because I hate indecency. I hate this shit. Being present with y'all is the highlight of my holiday. Thank you so much. Same here, same here. I would raise a cup of coffee, but unfortunately I ran out of it. And it sucks, actually, but I bought sugar. The night I got stuck at the gas station, the reason I went to the gas station, I wanted to buy sugar, I wanted to buy milk, I think. And I bought everything. I was there for a couple hours until I was saved by local Turks and Armenians in the German downtown, all right? And then I returned home. I realized I don't have sugar because I forgot to buy it. Because I'm stupid. So, oh, Moscow under attack by drones. All right. That's beautiful. Let's check it out. As far as I can tell, Russian Ministry of Defense and stolen toilets is absolutely glorifying its air defense systems, based on what the Russians are bullshitting, all right, over the past 6 hours. They say that they shot down 230 Ukrainian drones over Russia, and they say that they shot them over Bryansk, Kaluga, Moskva, Tula, Oryol, Kursk, Ryazan, and Smolensk. So it seems like Ukrainian drones are conducting some kick-ass reconnaissance right now at the Russian territory. They're trying to probe something very, very specific. I don't know what yet. Maybe some new oil refinery, maybe some old oil refinery, or maybe something more interesting. But I'm looking forward to see more details. And yeah, I see that there's a lot of messages coming that Russians are panicking because there's so many drones flying in the terror Russian sky. Hey, Dankster Games. Hello, my friend. Good to see you too. May the debris fall on the power station. Amen. Amen. Absolutely, those debris are so nasty. I mean, like they are always high precision debris. They shut them all down. So what did the debris hit? Yeah, that's something I'm asking myself. Hopefully we'll hear some more updates, right? Because again, those debris are absolutely nasty, and sometimes they hit with such precision and such power that Russians just cannot believe. Drone Bomber has a map out. It's gorgeous. Yeah, let me show it. There it is. Yes, because play stupid games, win Russian passport. That's exactly what Russians can expect. And in 2023, that would be absolutely freaking impossible, all right? In 2023, we would just monitor such updates and say, you know, let's stand strong. You know, I'm talking about the updates on Russians hitting Ukrainian territory, Ukrainian houses, kindergarten, schools, and stuff like that. Now we can see all that in 2025. What will we be looking at in 2026? How do you think? Because One of the biggest myths that pro-Russian degenerates keep repeating over and over is that Ukraine basically collapsed, and that's basically all. You know, in the meantime, Ukraine in 2025 not only didn't collapse, but also keeps producing drones and hit Russia further and stronger. And according to Budanov, by the way, Russia already lost more than 20% capacity from the recent strikes. And Budanov, he knows something. I believe that what he's saying is more or less reliable because Budanov is an immortal general of Ukrainian armed forces. I mean, he was killed so many times, and then he just keeps respawning over and over, you know. So I have absolute respect to General Budanov for his amazing ability to respawn after being hit by like all sorts of Russian cruise and ballistic missiles. He has this very interesting supernatural ability. All right, but what he says is trustworthy. Russia can't admit a Ukrainian drone hit their facility, so it's either deadly debris or careless Russian smokers. Yeah, or some kind of mythical cotton cutie creature. I've been spamming everyone I can think with exactly the need for a drone name like that. Yeah, that'd be funny. I would name a drone. I would name it Flu. All right. Like Russian general was killed with the flu. That's kind of cool. Maybe diarrhea even, but diarrhea it sounds cooler, but at the same time it's basically a name for the Russian camouflage, because it is. Imagine the comedy on Kremlin. Apparatchiks have to literally say, debris hit us again. Yeah. Yeah, and they can call them like in different... It's not necessarily like debris, but it can be like debris, like this, you know. I should be responsible for naming, you know, after such titles. So, with that, my dear friends, I will be probably monitoring the recent updates. Thank you so much for having coffee with me, for staying for the post-holiday coffee and news review on my channel. I changed the mistake in the coffee word, I swear. It was there. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. And by the way, big thanks one more time to all the members of my channel. I promised to show you one video, by the way, and Claire will remind me about this because I have freaking dementia. But I will show it next time. Before I finish, please check out the link in the description. I am fundraising together with Car for Ukraine for the truck for my guys. Thank you so much for your support. It's something absolutely crucial to me as a Ukrainian, as a former military, because I really want to help my guys. So I will appreciate it. And also big thanks to all the members and moderators and everyone who supports my channel. Big thanks for that €150 donation on my PayPal, because I will finally have opportunity to change the battery of my car. And also Big thanks to everyone who stands with Ukraine, who supports Ukraine. I highly appreciate it, and all Ukrainians will always keep that in their memory. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow with some interesting research on Epstein and his underground links with Russian terrorists. All right, that will be something interesting. I'm trying to collect as much data as possible, and I really hope that you will find that informative. All right. See you next time, guys. Have something good. Don't forget to treat yourself and be safe. Bye-bye.